Hey there, if you are pregnant and struggling to figure out how to manage your expectations and make sure that you have a postpartum experience that feels more calm and controlled, like you knew what was coming, this video is for you. My name is Patricia. I'm a postpartum doula and sleep counselor, and I help new parents prepare for life with their babies. And so in this video, I want to talk about how valuable it is to enter the postpartum period understanding the common myths and realities of childbirth and the early postpartum period. Adjusting your expectations can lead to a more satisfying and less stressful experience, helping you to better manage the transition into parenthood. This video is all about how to prepare for a better postpartum by setting realistic expectations for the early weeks. With my first baby, I had a really healthy and easy pregnancy. My husband and I were in our early 30s, we had good jobs, and many people told us that we were such relaxed people, our baby would be so chill, and we'd be just fine. It was nothing to worry about. Nevertheless, I had read a lot of stories about medically complex situations, difficult labors and stressful postpartum experiences with babies who didn't sleep or struggled with feeding, and so I also felt kind of nervous. But I tried not to dwell on those stories too much because secretly I thought we were going to be fine. My mom was coming to stay with us for the first 6 weeks, and that almost felt too long. Surely we could handle one chill baby. But spoiler, our baby was not chill, and despite my best efforts, he has never become more chill. Even now, well into his elementary education, he is highly observant, super chatty, and ready for anything. The problem was that because everyone told me they were so sure we'd have a chill baby and we could handle this, I felt like I couldn't tell anyone how much I was struggling because that would prove I couldn't handle it or that I'd gotten something wrong. The stories I was told hugely affected my postpartum expectations and my ability to reconcile those expectations with my reality. All these years later, however, I finally understand that this experience is super common among first-time parents. That's why in this video, I want to show how contrasting media portrayals, societal expectations, and personal experiences shape our postpartum expectations. I'll also share how getting honest about your specific, sometimes private expectations and expanding these to include realistic outcomes can help you navigate the early weeks with your newborn more confidently. Myths and realities of the newborn stage. The contrasting media portrayals. Media portrayals of the newborn stage often swing between two extremes. On TV shows and movies, we frequently see scenes of extreme sleep deprivation, frazzled parents, and a sense of chaos that makes the early weeks with the newborn seem overwhelmingly difficult. Often this chaos is played for laughs in sitcoms and movies, but in reality, when things do feel so chaotic in the newborn stage, it can take months or even years to emotionally recover from such a high alert, anxious time. These kinds of depictions can make pregnant people wonder what they were thinking and feed your anxiety about whether you can handle the postpartum period or not. On the other hand, social media presents quite a different picture. Instagram and Facebook feeds for new parents are often filled with polished, well-lit images of smiling babies, beautifully dressed parents, and picture-perfect outings. These posts can feed our unrealistic postpartum expectations and pressure us to achieve an idealized version of parenthood that isn't really attainable. And even though we know it is a kind of a highlight reel, we still feel the lure to measure up and find a way to share similar photos and videos. But the reality of the newborn stage often lies somewhere in between these extremes. Every baby is unique, and experiences can vary widely. And this is because parents come into the postpartum period with a variety of expectations, different levels of support, and access to resources. Some parents do face significant challenges with sleep deprivation, feeding difficulties, or emotional ups and downs. Others might find that their baby is relatively easygoing and their postpartum period is smoother than expected. But real-life stories from other parents can provide a more balanced view. For example, my first baby didn't sleep much, fewer than 12 hours in a 24-hour period, often in increments of 1 hour or less, for many, many weeks. The sleep deprivation was difficult, but what was actually worse was that I believed I was failing in this aspect of parenting. The lack of sleep was hard, yes, but the intensity of my guilt and shame about it was what totally threw me off. Or how about another mom I knew who was taken by surprise by the sense of isolation she felt after several weeks of baby care all blurred together. While she was still pregnant, she had thought that she would cherish the time off work with no obligations or responsibilities outside of baby care, but she discovered that structure and routine and connection mattered more to her sense of wellness than she had anticipated. She realized she felt herself sort of spiraling if she didn't make an effort to get out of the house to baby groups and outings where she could socialize on a weekly basis. And so I want to mention that there is real value in articulating what your honest expectations are as you think through your idea of a normal postpartum. And then, in several weeks or months, when you are in the thick of the newborn stage, you can actually compare your day-to-day experience to your expectations and say, this is not going how I thought it would, and it makes me feel all kinds of ways, whatever you're feeling. So before your baby arrives, it is crucial to take some time to reflect on your own expectations for the postpartum period. What do you think life with a newborn will be like? How much do you believe the stories you've heard or the images you've seen? It's important to get really honest with yourself about these expectations and ask yourself, what do you think your daily routine with a newborn will look like? How much sleep do you expect to get? What are your thoughts on feeding, whether breastfeeding, formula feeding, or some combination? How do you anticipate feeling emotionally during the first few weeks? Your honest answers can help you uncover any unrealistic expectations you might have absorbed from TV, social media, or even your well-meaning friends and family. But please listen when I say that uncovering expectations does not mean that you need to swap out, quote-unquote, bad expectations for good expectations, or even toss unrealistic ones and insert realistic expectations. Labeling your expectations as good or bad is not helpful. They are a product of your culture, your family, your history, and they don't mean anything about you as a person or as a parent. It took me a long time to overcome my feelings of failure in those first few months with my baby, but in fact, it all started with acknowledging the truth of my expectation. Years later in counseling, I realized I didn't want to admit that I thought we'd have an easy time as new parents because admitting that would make me look naive, and I didn't want my counselor to think I didn't know what I was getting into. I knew having a baby wouldn't be easy, but reconciling the gap between my expectations and reality was only possible when I could honestly articulate what those expectations were in the first place. So do make some time to reflect on your expectations for the postpartum period. Then, once you've explored your expectations, the next step is to make room for the most realistic outcomes. This doesn't mean you have to lower your standards, but rather prepare yourself for a range of possibilities and outcomes, because flexibility is key. Here are some strategies to help you reset your expectations. 1. Educate yourself. Take a course like my Prepping for Parenthood class, which provides comprehensive insights into the postpartum period. Understanding the physical and emotional changes that occur can help you set more realistic expectations. This video you're listening to is based on the very first lesson in the course. Number 2, create a flexible plan. While it's important to make a plan, be prepared to adapt. Your baby might have different needs and behaviors than you anticipated. Allow yourself the grace to change your plans as necessary. Number 3, emotional preparedness. Acknowledge that it's normal to feel a range of emotions, from joy and love to frustration and exhaustion, and for each of these feelings to come and go. Many parents are prepared for mood swings, but are still surprised or caught off guard by certain feelings like isolation, self-blame, or even unexpected joy when they find themselves randomly weeping at commercials. Make room for these feelings as well, and know that it is okay to seek support. Having a support system in place, whether it's family, friends, or a professional, can make a significant difference. And number 4, communicate with your partner. Ensure that both you and your partner are on the same page regarding expectations. Discuss what you're anticipating, both practically and emotionally, and how you will feel most supported. Maintain an open and honest communication about when expectations and reality collide, as this can contribute to significant feelings of stress and resistance in the postpartum period. Open communication can help prevent misunderstandings and ensure that you both feel supported. Recognizing and understanding your expectations is a powerful first step in preparing for the postpartum period. It's not about labeling your expectations as good or bad, but about being honest with yourself and acknowledging the truth of your thoughts and feelings. You are allowed to have them, and they don't have to mean anything about you as a person or a parent. But working through this process of self-reflection can help you adjust and reset your expectations to more realistic outcomes later. ultimately leading to a more satisfying and less stressful experience. Here are your next steps. Remember, this video draws heavily from one of my lessons in the Prepping for Parenthood course, so if you love this content, I encourage you to explore the course for more in-depth information and support. It includes comprehensive modules, expert guidance, and flexible learning. The course is online, on demand, and is available at your own pace. By enrolling in Prepping for Parenthood, you'll gain access to a wealth of knowledge and support that can make a significant difference in your postpartum experience. And of course, I want to hear from you. Your experiences and insights are valuable, not only to me, but to any other parents who come across this video. So leave me a comment below. What are your expectations for the postpartum period? And how do you think it measures up to the reality that's coming up? And of course, you can always find me on Instagram. I'm at Doula Patricia to share your deep down honest expectations. You'll get no judgment from me, and maybe voicing your thoughts will help you release some of the pressure you've put on yourself. That's all for now. If you love this content, make sure you subscribe and stay tuned for the next video in the series. Bye for now.